The past was a time when several aviation accidents occurred around the world. While air travel is considered one of the safest modes of transportation, if an accident were to happen suddenly, it could lead to a devastating loss of life. Because of this, before an aircraft takes flight, as well as while the aircraft is in the air, pilots and other relevant authorities are extremely cautious and thorough. This significantly reduces the chances of an accident occurring. Among all these factors, there have been aviation accidents caused by unavoidable circumstances on unfortunate days. Sudden occurrences like heavy rain, turbulent airflows, and bird strikes are some of the main causes. Recently, reports have indicated that the engines of a Korean aircraft were damaged due to a bird strike. Birds, which are animals found everywhere in the sky, can often be encountered along the flight path of an aircraft. As such, bird strikes on aircraft are not rare, especially when it comes to impacting the engines. In fact, there have been instances where bird strikes have caused the destruction of aircraft engines. If bird strikes can cause such accidents, how do aircraft manage to fly safely in the sky without encountering them? In reality, when birds collide with aircraft, can it really cause such significant danger? And how have aircraft been designed to prevent such occurrences? You must have many questions running through your mind. So, to find the answers, we invite you to stay tuned until the last few seconds of this informative video. All right, imagine this. You are traveling on a flight, and suddenly the plane flies into a flock of birds. Several birds strike the engine, causing it to malfunction and triggering a large fire. How would you feel if you were on that flight at that moment? Well, this kind of incident is not as rare as you might think. According to estimates, bird strikes cause around 1.2 billion in damages worldwide every year. This means that every month, bird strikes result in roughly 100 million in damage to aircraft. In fact, 1/3 of all bird strike incidents happen in the United States, where over 10,000 bird strikes occur every year. Surprisingly, most of these incidents happen near airports during takeoff and landing. The reason for this is that birds typically fly at lower altitudes. Therefore, when a plane is flying at a higher altitude, bird strikes are less likely to happen. However, it's still possible for birds to strike planes at altitudes of up to 30,000 feet. The highest recorded bird strike incident took place at an altitude of 37,100 feet, involving a bird strike that damaged the engine of a commercial jet airliner collided with a Rupelese Griffon Vulture over Abidjan, Ivory Coast. All right, let's dive into a more serious scenario. If a bird strikes an engine of an aircraft, it can lead to a significant chain of events. Typically, airplanes use turbines to draw in air, and this powerful airflow can cause birds flying nearby to get sucked into the engine. The turbines inside the engine spin at incredibly high speeds, around 20,000 revolutions per minute. The engine contains small components that, if a large bird enters, could cause these parts to get damaged or blocked, possibly leading to engine failure. This can, in turn, cause a fire. Although a bird strike might not always cause catastrophic damage, it can still lead to serious issues. For instance, if a small bird is struck, the damage may not be severe. However, if a large bird or a flock of birds hits the engine, it can cause considerable harm. In some cases, the engine might still be operational, but the damage could be enough to require immediate attention. In modern aircraft, most planes are designed with multiple engines. If one engine fails due to a bird strike, the other engines can still keep the aircraft flying safely, and the plane can be controlled and landed without issue. Additionally, even if both engines were to fail, backup systems like the Auxiliary Power Unit, APU, and the ram air turbine are available to provide enough power to allow the plane to glide and make a controlled emergency landing. Bird strikes are a rare but serious risk, and while they can cause significant damage, aircraft are engineered with various fail-safes to ensure they can still function in the event of an engine failure. In such cases of bird strikes, there are mechanisms in the aircraft to prevent fires and damage to the engines. These systems allow the engine to be immediately deactivated to prevent further damage. Additionally, pilots are specially trained for such situations to ensure they can handle these emergencies effectively. In January 2009, an Airbus A320 aircraft encountered a bird strike while flying over New York, which caused both of its engines to fail. However, the crew was able to safely land the plane on the Hudson River. The pilot's quick decision-making and their ability to stay calm in such a critical situation played a crucial role in ensuring the safety of all on board. During such incidents, the safety protocols and strategies for emergency landings are extremely important. Fortunately, all 155 passengers survived the incident. While bird strikes do not usually lead to major accidents, they still pose a significant risk, which is why airlines and airport staff take every possible measure to reduce the likelihood of such events occurring. At some airports, gas cannons are used to scare birds away, and high-pitched sounds are also employed for the same purpose. Not only that, but strobe lights are used to deter birds, and in extreme cases, airports have to build fences to keep birds away. Flight paths are often adjusted to avoid bird migration routes, and sometimes flight paths are altered due to the presence of migrating birds. All of these measures are taken to minimize the chances of a significant bird strike incident. In this case, if such an accident could happen, one might wonder why nets or barriers aren't installed in front of the turbines to prevent birds from entering. This question was raised by many after the 2009 air accident. The reason for not using such barriers is that installing a net or guard would obstruct the air intake needed by the engine. The engine requires a vast amount of air to be drawn in at very high speeds. If a net or guard were placed in front of the engine, it would significantly reduce the engine's ability to draw in air, leading to a dramatic decrease in the engine's performance. Yes, that's correct. Bird strikes are more likely to occur at altitudes below 3,000 feet, during the brief period when the aircraft is closer to the ground. During this short time, the aircraft is also very close to its most critical stage in terms of fuel efficiency and engine performance. This makes it impractical to install any kind of barrier or net at the front of the engines. The manufacturers of these aircraft have decided that, given the fact that some flights last for several hours and bird strikes are a rare occurrence, the potential losses from installing such a net or guard would outweigh the benefits. So, in situations where a bird strike happens, aircraft engines are designed to be as robust as possible to handle the situation. In order for an aircraft to function properly, both during takeoff and flight, the performance of the engines must be smooth and precise. During these crucial phases, if a cover or barrier were installed in front of the engines, it could impair their functionality, potentially causing more problems than a bird strike itself. For this reason, installing a guard in front of the aircraft engines is not feasible. Ultimately, with the advancement of modern technology, the designers of aircraft have developed ways to mitigate bird strikes. It's important to understand how they've achieved this. First and foremost, the goal is to prevent birds from being in the way by ensuring that pilots are well trained to handle such situations. Additionally, as mentioned earlier, airports and flight paths are designed to minimize bird encounters as much as possible. Before an aircraft takes off or during flight, methods are used to prevent birds from being in the vicinity. In addition to these preventative measures, modern aircraft are designed with mechanisms to manage situations where, after an accident, one engine's power might slightly decrease. In such cases, the remaining thrust from the other engine or engines can be used to maintain balance and continue the flight. This system operates without altering the aircraft's trajectory. In the event of a significant failure, the engine is designed to prevent an explosion by automatically or manually deactivating the affected engine. As a result, due to these precautions, it is very rare for a modern aircraft to be severely damaged or crash due to a bird strike, even in unfortunate circumstances.